The night was cold and silent in the deep forest. Rain fell heavily, tapping against the wooden roof of a small cabin. Inside, a human man named Cole was sitting near a fire. He lived alone, away from the noise of cities, and tonight he was enjoying the peaceful sound of the storm. But then something changed. A strange noise came from outside. It wasn't thunder. It was softer, like someone moving through the wet leaves. Cole stood up and walked to the door. He listened carefully. Another sound followed. A weak knock. Cole opened the door slowly and saw something he never expected. A figure stood there, shivering in the rain. It was a woman, but not a human. Her skin was pale blue with a soft glow. Her ears were small and elf-like. She had strange markings on her cheeks and wore a torn dark outfit that looked like a uniform from another world. She was soaked, trembling, and could barely keep her eyes open. Cole's eyes widened. "Are you hurt?" The alien girl didn't answer. She just looked at him with tired, frightened eyes before falling forward. Cole quickly caught her before she hit the ground. She was freezing. Her skin was cold to the touch. Without thinking, he brought her inside. He placed her gently on the couch near the fire, wrapped her in a thick blanket, and started boiling water. He didn't know who she was or where she came from, but she needed help. After a few minutes, she opened her eyes slightly. Her lips moved, but her voice was weak. "Why? Help me?" she whispered. "Because you're freezing, and you need shelter." Cole replied simply. "Rest. We'll talk later." She closed her eyes again and didn't move. Cole stayed near her, making sure the fire was warm enough. He brought her dry clothes, one of his extra shirts and sweatpants, and turned away while helping her change. She was still half asleep, but at least she was safe now. Hours passed. The storm outside grew stronger, but inside the cabin it was warm. Suddenly she woke again. This time she sat up a little. Her breathing was fast, and her eyes were full of fear. "No, they followed me." Cole stepped closer. "Who followed you?" She looked at him with panic in her eyes and said one word. "Hunters." Then she fell back asleep. Cole stood still, unsure what to think. Who were these hunters? Why was this alien girl out in the forest alone? And how did she end up on Earth? He looked at her again. She was now sleeping peacefully, wrapped in a blanket, her strange features soft and quiet in the firelight. He didn't have the answers yet, but one thing was clear. This girl was running from something terrible, and now she was under his roof. Cole walked to the window and looked out into the dark woods. The rain was still falling, but now he felt something different in the air. Danger was coming, and he had no idea what kind of world he had just stepped into. The next morning, the storm had passed. Sunlight came through the small window of Cole's cabin. The sound of birds replaced the rain. Inside, the alien girl slowly opened her eyes. She was lying on a couch, wrapped in a warm blanket. Her body still felt weak, but she wasn't cold anymore. She sat up slowly and looked around. Everything was unfamiliar. The cabin was made of wood. A fire was burning softly in the fireplace. There were books, tools, and a strange smell like trees, smoke, and something cooking. Then she saw the man. Cole was at the stove, cooking something in a pot. He turned around and saw her awake. "You're up," he said with a calm voice. "Good. You were out cold all night." The girl stared at him, unsure of what to say. "You helped me." "I did," Cole replied. "You were freezing. I had to bring you in. You're lucky I found you." The girl touched the blanket and looked down at the clothes she now wore, human clothes. She frowned in confusion. "You changed my clothes?" Cole raised his hands quickly. "Relax. I only helped you change because you were shaking. I didn't look. I promise you needed warmth." She looked at him carefully. His voice was honest. His eyes were calm. She nodded slowly. "Thank you." Cole placed a bowl of hot soup in front of her. "Eat. You need strength." She looked at the food with confusion but tried it. It was simple vegetable soup, warm and soft. She didn't say anything, but she ate all of it. After a few minutes, she looked at him again. Why? Why what? Cole asked. Why did you help me? I'm not human. I could be dangerous. Cole shrugged. You were freezing and scared. That was enough for me to help. The girl went silent. No one had ever treated her like this before. Back home, kindness didn't come without a price. She was trained to expect tricks, not care. My name is Lyari, she said at last. I'm from the Arvalis sector. I was a communications officer before everything changed. Cole sat down across from her. I'm Cole, just a regular human. I live here alone. Lyari studied him for a moment. He was simple, strong-looking, and had no advanced tech. Yet he had helped her more than anyone from her own world ever had. What were you doing out there? Cole asked. Lyari looked down. I ran away. From what? From my people, she said quietly. I refused to follow an order. They called me a traitor. Now they hunt me. Cole leaned back. That's what you meant by hunters, right? She nodded. Yes. They are not kind. If they find me, they will erase me. Cole was silent for a moment. Then he said, Well, they won't find you here. I know these woods better than anyone. Lyari looked at him in surprise. Why are you doing this? You don't even know me. Cole smiled a little. Because sometimes doing the right thing doesn't need a reason. She blinked slowly. Her world didn't work like that. On her planet, nothing came free. No one did anything. Without gain. But this human. He gave her shelter, food, even his bed, and asked for nothing. As night came again, Cole prepared a pillow on the floor for himself. He gave her the couch again. Lyari stared at him. You're sleeping on the floor? You need the couch. More than I do? She looked at him quietly. Then she whispered, You are strange, human, but not in a bad way. Cole just smiled and turned off the light. Lyari pulled the blanket over her shoulders. For the first time in a long time, she felt safe. 2 days passed quietly. Lyari was healing fast. Her strength returned and she moved around the cabin more comfortably. Cole showed her how to use human tools, how to cook simple meals, and how to stay warm in the forest weather. He asked no questions unless she offered answers. She found it peaceful. Too peaceful. A part of her still waited for something to go wrong. That morning, while Cole was chopping firewood outside, Lyari was near the window. She noticed a strange light in the sky. A red blink. Then two. Her eyes widened. No! She rushed outside. Cole! He turned, surprised by her tone. What is it? She pointed to the sky. That was a scan pulse. They're close. Cole looked up, saw nothing. You sure? Yes, she said, breathing fast. They're using long-range sensors. They must have tracked my signal. I didn't think they'd come this far. Cole was calm, but serious. What do they want with you? They want to bring me back. I refused a direct order. On my planet, that's a crime. They erase people like me. He nodded slowly. Then we need to hide you again. Properly. Lyari followed Cole as he moved with purpose. He grabbed a bag of tools, food, and a thick blanket. I built a cellar under the cabin a few years ago, Cole said. Wasn't for this, but it'll do. He lifted a rug and opened a wooden trapdoor. Below was a small hidden space lined with stones. There were shelves with supplies and a mattress on the floor. This will keep you safe from above scans, he explained. Lyari looked around in surprise. You thought ahead? Always, Cole said. I don't trust cities, that's why I live out here. They climbed down and Cole lit a small lantern. It gave a soft, warm glow. Lyari sat on the mattress, her hands folded tightly. Sorry, she whispered. I brought danger to your home. You brought yourself, Cole replied. And you needed help, that's all I saw. She looked up at him, eyes soft. You don't know what they'll do if they find you helping me. I'll take my chances. Suddenly a low hum came from outside. Lyari froze. She knew that. Sound. A scout drone. They were close. Cole turned off the lantern. The two sat in silence. Through the cracks above, the faint sound of engines passed over the cabin. The drone hovered, scanned, and moved slowly. Layari's heart beat fast. She felt Cole's steady breath next to her. He didn't panic. "They're scanning for heat signatures," she whispered. "They can't find us if we stay still." "Then we wait," he replied quietly. Minutes passed. The sound grew louder, then faded. Layari let out a slow breath. "It's gone, for now." Cole nodded. "But they'll come back." She turned to him. "You could still turn me in. Save yourself." He looked at her with steady eyes. "That's not who I am." She stared at him in silence. Then softly she asked, "Why are you so different?" "I'm human," he said with a small smile. "That's how we are sometimes." She leaned back, eyes closing slowly. "Then I'm glad I found a human like you." Above them, the drone flew off into the distance. But they both knew this wasn't over yet. The next morning was calm, but the tension had not left. Cole and Layari stayed inside the cabin, careful not to go too far or make noise that could be picked up. The drone from the day before had left, but Layari believed more would come. She was right. Still, Cole tried to bring a little peace to the day. He boiled tea and handed a cup to Layari. She held it in both hands, watching the steam rise. "What is this?" she asked. "Mint tea," Cole replied. "Helps you think clearly, or so my grandma used to say." Layari sipped slowly, her sharp expression softening. "We don't have anything like this." Cole leaned back in his chair. "You're a long way from your world. Must feel strange." "It does," she said. "But this place, it feels different. Quieter and warmer." Cole looked at her, waiting. "In my world," Layari continued, "we are trained for duty since childhood. We don't talk about comfort or kindness." "Sounds lonely?" Layari nodded. "It is." A short silence followed. "You know," Cole said, "I used to be in the army, Earth's army. I saw war. I saw people hurt each other for power, for land, for fear." She looked up, surprised. "Then, why are you like this?" "Because I got tired of fighting. I came here to find peace, and now you've brought a new kind of war to my door," he added with a half smile. Layari lowered her eyes, guilt touching her face. "I didn't mean to. I know, and I'm not angry, just curious." "Why did you run?" She hesitated. Then she said, "They gave me a command. I was told to send a message that would trigger a strike on a peaceful station. They said it was a threat, but I knew it wasn't. It was a hospital, with children, scientists, no weapons." Cole's face grew serious. "I refused," she went on. "They called me a traitor. I escaped before they could arrest me. I used a stolen pod and came here. Earth was not their first choice for a hiding place. Too many humans. And now they're hunting you," Cole said. "Because you did the right thing." Layari looked up, her voice softer now. "You understand." "I do." For a moment, they said nothing. The fire crackled quietly between them. Later that evening, Cole offered her dinner, roasted vegetables and bread. Layari helped prepare it. Her hands were still unsure, but she was learning fast. As they ate, she said, "I never expected a human to be like this." "Like what?" "Kind, honest, protective. We were taught that humans were primitive and selfish." Cole laughed. "Well, maybe some are, but not all of us." That night, Cole placed the extra pillow on the floor again. He laid out a blanket and turned toward the wall, but Layari stood still near the couch watching him. "You're sleeping on the floor again?" "Yes," he replied. "Why?" She looked confused. "On my planet, offering shelter means we owe warmth in return." Cole turned to her. "You don't owe me anything." Layari blinked, her voice quiet. Then why do I feel like I want to? Cole smiled gently. Because maybe you're beginning to trust. She slowly nodded and lay down on the couch, pulling the blanket over herself. As she looked at the ceiling, she whispered to herself, maybe this human is changing me more than I thought. Outside, the stars shone above the quiet forest. The days passed quietly, but a new feeling grew between Cole and Liari. They were no longer just a man and a stranger in his home. They were becoming friends. One evening after dinner, Liari looked at Cole with a serious expression. There is something I must tell you. Cole raised his eyebrows. What is it? Liari's cheeks changed color, a soft purple shade. On my world, when someone gives you shelter, it is an honor to offer warmth in return. It is not just kindness. It is a sacred promise. Cole blinked, surprised. Warmth in return? She nodded. Yes, it means sharing your bed. It is a way to show thanks, loyalty, and trust. It is a tradition we never break. Cole looked away for a moment, then met her eyes. I don't know if I understand that fully. Liari looked shy. It may seem strange to you, but to me it is important. You saved my life. Now I owe you more than words. Cole shook his head softly. Liari, you don't owe me anything like that. I helped you because it was the right thing to do. She looked at him, confused. But I feel I must. It is not just debt, it is honor. Cole smiled gently. Here on earth we say kindness does not need payment. Sometimes it is just kindness. Liari looked down. I was taught differently. He reached out and placed a hand lightly on hers. You don't have to follow old rules here. You can choose what feels right. She looked up, eyes shining. That is new to me. They sat quietly for a moment. The fire crackled softly. Later that night, when Cole went to sleep on the floor as usual, Liari stood near the couch. Her heart was full of strange feelings. She hesitated, then moved closer. Cole. He opened his eyes, surprised to see her standing. I want to keep my promise, she said softly, to warm your bed. Cole sat up, eyes wide. Liari, no, please don't feel forced. She shook her head quickly. It is not force, it is respect, and something more. He sighed, then smiled warmly. I don't want you to feel like you owe me anything. But if you want to stay close because you feel safe, that is different. That is your choice. Liari's cheeks flushed deeper, but she nodded. That night, instead of lying on the couch, she sat quietly next to him on the floor. Their shoulders touched. It was a small act, but it said more than words. Cole looked at her with a smile. See? Not so strange. She smiled back, feeling a comfort she hadn't known for a long time. Outside, the forest was silent. Inside, two hearts beat quietly, growing closer. The calm did not last long. One evening, as the sun was setting behind the trees, Cole was outside checking his traps when he heard a strange noise, soft but steady. It was the sound of engines, low and humming. He turned and saw glowing lights, moving quickly between the trees. His heart beat faster. They were back. Liari, who had been inside, ran to him. Hunters, she said, her voice tense. They have found us again. Cole didn't waste a second. Get inside. Now! They hurried into the cabin. Cole closed the doors and windows. Then he pulled the trap door open. Down here, he said, grabbing her hand. They slid into the hidden cellar, the small space, where they had hidden before. Cole quickly lit a lantern and they sat in silence, listening. Outside, the hunters searched the cabin, their voices strange and cold. They will find us if we stay here, Liari whispered. Cole nodded. We have to fight back. Liari's eyes widened. Fight? How? Cole smiled. I've learned a few things in the army. He reached into his bag and pulled out wires, small gadgets, and pieces of metal. I'll make traps. If they try to enter again, they will be stopped. Layari watched as Cole worked quickly, setting up alarms and small barriers. Then she took out a small device from her pocket. This is a tracker they put inside me. If I don't remove it, they can find us anytime. Cole took the device carefully. Let me see. Using his tools and with her guidance, he managed to disable the tracker. Layari breathed easier. We have a chance now, Cole said. Suddenly, loud bangs shook the cabin. The hunters were breaking down the door. Cole grabbed a heavy stick and stood in front of Layari. Stay behind me. The door crashed open, and armed figures entered. Cole was ready. He moved fast, using his strength and surprise to push the hunters back. Layari joined, using her alien skills to confuse them with bright flashes from her device. Together, they fought with courage and teamwork. After a long struggle, the hunters retreated, wounded and frustrated. Cole looked at Layari, breathing hard. We did it. Layari smiled, relief shining in her eyes. Because of you, I am free again. They sat down, exhausted but happy. Thank you, Layari said softly, for fighting for me. Cole shook his head. No, we fought together. You're stronger than you think. She reached for his hand and held it tightly. You saved my life. And my hope. Outside, the night was calm once more. But inside the cabin, two friends knew their bond was stronger than ever. The morning light filtered gently through the cabin's small windows. After the battle the night before, Cole and Layari were both tired but safe. The hunters had fled, and for now, the danger was gone. Layari stood near the window looking at the forest outside. The trees swayed softly in the breeze and birds sang as if nothing had happened. But her heart was full of mixed feelings. Cole approached quietly. Thinking about leaving? She turned to him, her eyes calm but serious. I should go. This place is not mine. My people will not stop searching. Cole shook his head gently. You don't have to leave just because they come. You have a right to choose where you feel safe. Layari smiled softly. That is not easy for me. My life was always on the run. He stepped closer. Maybe it's time to stop running. She looked into his eyes, feeling something new. Hope, trust, maybe even something deeper. I was wrong about humans, she said quietly. You didn't just give me shelter for my body. You sheltered my heart. Cole reached out and took her hand. And you didn't just survive here. You belong here. For a long moment, they stood close, the silence between them full of meaning. Finally, Layari spoke. Will you let me stay? Not because I owe you, but because I want to. Cole smiled warmly. I was hoping you would say that. They sat down together, feeling the quiet warmth of a home they both had found. Outside, the forest seemed peaceful, and for the first time, Layari felt she could breathe freely. I don't know what the future holds, she said, but I know that here, with you, I am safe. Cole nodded. And that is where we will build from. They talked late into the day, sharing stories and dreams. Two beings from different worlds connected by kindness and courage. As the sun set, Layari looked at Cole and whispered, Thank you. For everything. He smiled back. Thank you. For trusting me. The stars appeared above the cabin, bright and endless. And beneath them, two friends began a new journey. One not born from obligation or fear, but from choice and heart.